Hello and welcome back to Exeter City, where last time out we got to pretend we were League One for an episode. Today we get to pretend we're the Premier League for an episode. Kinda. Anyway, Arsenal's under 23s, Man U FC, that's the main one. Since we last met, all the way back at Rotherham, we won 5 league games in a row, drew the next 2. Forest Green and Sutton, 2 away games to teams in the mix. So those 2 points, not horrendous. That one's slightly more so because they had a man sent off and then equalised. But Forest Green are 3rd, Sutton actually down in 12th now. It's a bit tight in that section there, 37 points to 42, really, 5th. 5 points separating 7 teams, 8 teams, whatever that is. But the 5 victories in a row and then the 2 draws, points-wise, we're now 14 points clear. Yeah, and it's all same games played up there as well. So if I recall, it was 3/6 depending on the game in hand. Last time we met, yeah, now 14 points and 15 to Bradford in 4th. So not much difference between 2nd and 4th in terms of automatic promotion versus just winning the thing, but it is looking increasingly likely. Also, remarkably, still no Ramirez in key players. In the Dream 11, not in the key players. The only real minor bit of news that we've had in the in-between is youth intake preview has come in, goalkeeper, centre-back, central midfielder, actually 2 centre-backs, and a striker, all might be pretty good. So straight down the middle, we've got something, clearly, possibly coming through. But it's 4.5 star, excellent intake, rated against our current team, of course. So don't know what the overall potential of these are, but they're good for our current team, which means it's very likely we will outgrow them by the time they'll develop. But it's the thought that counts. Not sure that was the right phrase. So Arsenal's under 23s. It's a bit of a weird game to bring you, but I have a bone to pick with this lot. The good news is I don't have anyone on holiday this time to face them, so I can go sort of full strength. I might not bother just because of the Man United game. One of the key points actually for those last 2 draws is I had no strikers. In fact, I probably should really be looking for another striker at this point. Why haven't I done this already? He's out for the remainder of the season. Is Kieran Phillips, the backup. 6 to 8 months, cruciate ligaments. Why haven't I sent him back? Why am I paying 1,200 quid for him to be here broken? And Beerith was just absolutely shattered. So I still don't really have a recognised striker in my team quite currently. Marcus Barnes was also a little bit knocked, and he's probably the best candidate to fill in for the time being. So he will do that. Nombe will go on the right. He's not great there. Matt J will come back in on the left. I will stick with Archie Collins in the front. We'll bring Fuad Sole back in for this game. We'll rotate the fullbacks and one of the centre-backs. It was suggested to use the backup goalkeeper. I don't think I'll bother. Sorry, Scott. So the lineup will be Dawson in goal, Caprice, Hartridge, Sweeney, Key at right back, Sule and Dieng, Collins in front of him, Jay and Nombe, and Barnes up front. I'm hoping Barnes will actually do something as a striker because he hasn't been great as a winger. But yeah, slightly depleted, largely because of injuries and tiredness issues. Been a lot of games in December, and I am down to 1 striker. At least the striker I have is here for nothing. Shout out to the irony of the original situation, as I need to remember to go back to the left. We had 3 loanee strikers here when we got here. I sent the worst of them back, who was on the most money, and then the other 2, who I was happy to keep, both got injured at different points of the season, but we now have lost both of the 2 loanee strikers that were here originally, and there's a kit clash. What the hell? Oh, I know why there's a kit clash. Arsenal's under 23s are using the generated kit from the Newcastle save because I still have it active for the stream save, which is a lot further in the future. And I figured it was very unlikely we were going to be playing Premier League teams at this point, as Charlie Patino, who hasn't gone out on loan anywhere, gives away a penalty. But Arsenal's second kit, which is normally blue as a main, you can see up here, it's regarded as blue primarily, has been regarded the wrong way round when it came to generating the kit. Might even be the third kit, actually. As Jay buries that penalty, sends the goalie the wrong way. Yeah, so I kind of forgot the fact that... So this is one of the kits that needs to be fixed by the time we get to the Premier League. Because my Twitch save is in Germany, it's not that much of a bother currently. I could face Arsenal in Europe, but we're okay on that front. Barnes is through. Hits the bar. I mean, it's in his name, I suppose. Yeah, there's a few kits from that initial batch that I made during the Newcastle save, which do need a little bit of tweaking. This is one of them, clearly. Anyway, it's amusing for the time being, at least. They have a defender called Orr. It's a great name. Probably works better on a striker, but is anyone going to run to that ball? No, but Hartridge gets there first regardless. Swanson, please be called Ron, intercepted the ball through. Nombe, Barnes is there, not, this is really hard to track actually. The longer this highlight goes, the more the players blur together. Key, like when the highlight pops in, I can see the difference between the kits, but the longer it goes, they just become the same. Sule, Jay, Key, it's gone back across. Barnes is there. It's onside, apparently. I was concerned it might not have been, but not even checked. I suppose we don't have VAR at Exeter, so really felt like he might have been offside. Oh no, that defender went completely rogue. We're fine. This is a little bit more one-sided than I was anticipating, if I'm completely honest, at this point. Although they have had a shot at last now, as we get in the way of that one again, but it's all that it goes to in Ngungbo. Charlie Patino on the ball now. Out to Lopez. Back to Patino. Gumbo. Wasteful. Key just, frankly, mocking the team at this point just by walking towards that ball that he could have easily just grabbed about 5 seconds earlier if he bothered. That was one of the worst passes I've ever seen. A fine interception, says the text, as it was passed directly to him. Hartridge, though, does get in the way of that through ball and then lets Unal through as Dawson saves. Good chance for them there. Barnes to take the corner. Hartridge goes close. We won't have the same issue with Manchester United's kits, by the way. I know I gave them a new sponsor, so they will have the wrong sponsors on their kits currently for what is season run, but hopefully that won't be viewable at this distance. Caprice. It's the problem of having two different saves at two very different times and using software like that to modify one of them. It's why I don't use the new gen stuff, because it's very difficult to remember to switch between them because they use config files. As Jay scored, by the way. Didn't really comment on it. It's now 3. This does seem to be going one way, this game. Jay, I mean, it's a great goal from Jay. And I can probably afford to rest a few keyer players at this point. So, Nombe, Jay, Collins kinda, but Ramirez does that job. Problem is, Jay's on a hat-trick. So I'll definitely rest Nombe. Let the game go another few minutes. It's up an hour for Arsenal, actually. He's cracked the bar as well. We've had 21 shots in this game. Chance conversion is still not exceptionally good. I mean, Matt Jay's staying on just because he's on a hat-trick. So I'm going to have to obviously specifically rest him. I'm not going to make any more substitutions because I'm only going to be bringing on better players that I want for the next game. By the way, my assistant is obsessed with not allowing ourselves to become too comfortable. Every single game, Wayne wants to tell me don't get complacent, basically. One of these two. Every single game. No, good performance. I actually motivate them rather than demotivate them, which the don't get complacent does most of the time. It's so weird. Such a shame. 40 grand for that, though. That's worth checking our finances before we play Man UFC. It's staved off currently. Profit for January, but we're only 4 days in. We'll keep an eye on this. Gate receipts currently on 2.5k from that game by itself. As I need to get back over here, and I will definitely rest everyone that played that game. Having that game there is a bit annoying because I would have looked for a striker, but video, not doing that in the middle of doing this. So obviously I'll look for a new backup striker once this is over. I mean, a cracker in the Carabao Cup semi-finals as actual Arsenal lose 5-4. Is it that much of a shock an actual club beat an under-23s? I mean, apparently the under-23 International Cup quarter-finalists. No idea how impressive that is. Rotherham again. Tell you what, this save is obsessed with Rotherham. All the players that I wanted to loan, Rotherham are also interested in, and now we've had them in 2 different cup competitions. Oh, for Jesus. 4 grand. Sure, we just got 40. I mean, I know he's 34, but he's contracted for another year now, because, unsurprisingly, he's played 5 games. Thanks, George. Varane has made 54 interceptions and won 253 headers for Man UFC this season. Am I going crazy, or does 253 headers seem a lot for half a season? Thanks, Brooke. Our press officer here is on the ball with the likely talking points. I'm sorry, that caught me by surprise. Oh, I need a moment to process that. I mean, no shit. Are you hopeful that Nick Cox will field a full-strength side? Oh yeah, they just sacked Rangnick because Rangnick's in charge of the start because of the update. Sacked in January, awkwardly, around the same time he was hired. If not earlier. So it's a vulnerable Man UFC. Meanwhile, Nick has had to deal with questions about the considerable talents of Alex Hartridge, who might be leaving. We've had a bid for him. Also, I gave him another year. He was actually really reasonable about it. Caprice is a solid backup. Speaking of Rotherham, yes, they're the ones who bid money for him, and he could not be persuaded out of wanting to go. So rather than have an annoyed kind of first choice centre back, it's Sam Stubbs and then either Hartridge or Sweeney, depending on whichever one's more fit. They're the first two centre backs basically, but they've given us £175,000 and 30% of the profit, if there is any, going forward. We also get basically 25 grand for 20 games, but board agreed that we'll get 26k. How generous. I could and should have delayed that actually till after this game. I now realise that was stupid. I should have also played him in the last game. Okay, so the team is actually mostly okay. It's only Matt J, unsurprisingly, who was quite tired towards the end of that last match. I couldn't take him off just out of respect for the hat-trick potential. Dawson in goal, Fleming, Stubbs, Sweeney, McLaughlin at right back, Morton and Soule, Collins in front because of that Ramirez injury. Otherwise, Ramirez definitely would have been there. Ramirez knows how to play against Manchester United. Hope he's giving tips from his injury bed, wherever it is. Nombe, because of the J situation. Giovanni Brown back in for this game, and Beerith, most importantly, back in for this game as well. 15 goals in 20 starts for him now. Getting a bit of momentum under him before he was just entirely broken for 2 games. Not injured, just physically shattered. Let's see the 11 that they've given us. It is rotated, kind of. Dalot, Telesh, Cavani, Alanga. They're not even brought Ronaldo. Fernandes, though, Sancho, Pogba. I mean, there's obviously even rotated. There's some big hitters in there. Dalot and Telesh obviously aren't terrible. Henderson in goal as well, notably. Didn't bring De Gea at all either. But they have brought on the bench Maguire. They brought 3 centre-backs. Actually, I've got to say, very, very minimal on the forward player on the bench. No spare striker. Lingard and Mata, both kind of attacking midfielders. Fred, definitely not. McTominay, definitely not. I mean, Fred's on the bench. Interesting. I suppose he who shall not be named has been removed in the January update. Say January update, it wasn't January at all. But we're not going to play any different against Man UFC than we do against any of our League 2 opposition. Same tactics, same mentality. Cavani straight in. Maybe we should have... You know when you instantly regret saying words? I mean, it was absolutely... Sorry, apparently Pogba just clocked someone in the build-up to that, and it was waved through by the ref, was literally what the text said there. The Pogba took someone out of play legally. Didn't seem to be any issues, but kick-off highlight, can we get an equaliser immediately? Frankly, it's all about the money, not the result here. Henderson punts that forward, and Cavani's under it, and Alanga's in. Never mind, it's probably 2-0. We've got the ball back, though. Giovanni Brown. Where are we going with this? McLaughlin. Still Giovanni Brown again. Soule. Collins. Giovanni Brown. Intercepted. That's not great. Rashford's in. What's going on here? Where are we going with the ball? Cavani's in open space, and it's 2-0. Right, cool. I understand their Premier League, but at the same time, do you understand the concept of marking? Just, principle still applies, regardless of who the opponent is. Like, 2 of you have chased Rashford down there. None of you bothered to keep an eye on Cavani. Why have you done that? Why has the AI thought, that's a good idea? Kick-off highlight. Oh dear. Thing is, we've been away to Portsmouth and Rotherham. They're a tier above, and it worked fine against them. Yeah, it's going to be 3, because Rashford's going to get to that ball first somehow. Maybe it's a good block. I think there might be a good block highlight there. There was a good block in there. And hopefully that wraps his heart. Hopefully that... End the highlight now. End it. End it. It's still going. Not only demand more, but we're 2-0 down. One thing I wanted to say is the fact we've got someone on loan from Arsenal, someone on loan from Liverpool. You know, there's Premier League-ish talent in our squad. If they could just not be useless, that'd be great. Tyler Morton, one of those. Liverpool loanee to Beerith, the Arsenal loanee. Kind of. It went via the way of a Fernandes tackle, or Fernandes, as it's supposed to be done. Morton does go close. Speaking of Bruno, although apparently we shouldn't. Well, we've stopped them scoring a goal every minute. Fernandes, Pogba. Didn't really see what happened to that one. Wide, apparently. I'm going to demand more from my team because, as far as I'm aware, we've not had a shot on target. Which would be nice if we could just get one. Beerith. I mean, I understand where Exeter and Giovanni Brown is in here. He scored a fair few goals, and that was probably the worst effort I've ever seen him do. I don't know what he was trying to do there. It looked like he was trying to pass it into the near corner, which was never going to work. that would have never worked against a League Two goalkeeper, not let alone Dean Henderson. As Sule, might as well, mate, at this point. The way this game's going. One more corner for them. There's Carboni, someone I don't even recognise the name of. Might be an actual in-game acquisition for Man UFC. Not the main part of this highlight, as that's hoofed to Nombe pointlessly. I've just remembered I probably need to take off, counter-press. Bit late now to remember that, I'm well aware. Counter-press works if you're kind of the better team. Or close to. When you're up against a team that you're definitely not better than, counter-press can sort of drag you out of place. Anyways, 3-0 at half-time and we're being absolutely obliterated. Absolutely woeful, particularly from Nombe, who has been, well, actually no. I'm getting my versions of Exeter mixed up. Nombe's not actually been that great here. He was the star of the Game Blast session, but so far, we do seem to be missing the presence of Matt J, who I'm going to bring on just because Nombe has been absolutely woeful. I'm going to bring Dion for Collins as well, just because he's getting a bit tired. I don't have another striker to replace Beereth with. I mean, it'd be nice if we got a goal and just made this somewhat respectable. Obviously, I was not expecting to win this or even be competitive in it, but they brought Harry Maguire on as just to rub it in. Like, he didn't even start. I feel like when an AI makes a centre-back change, it's just because, we're winning 3-0. Might as well. Beereth, considering where he took that shot from, it's a little bit surprising I'm about to say probably should have scored. That was a bizarrely good chance he fashioned for himself, sort of out of nothing. I thought he'd gone too far wide there. I'm still a little bit taken aback from the fact that he went for that there. Fleming's been poor as well. But I don't know who to replace at this stage. Obviously, I don't have a striker for Beereth. Don't really have any more relatively quality midfielders as Sancho doesn't make it for. Marcus Barnes for Brown is a thing I can do, but I could bring him up front if I wanted to. Did have 5 shots on target. We do have an XG of 1. I'm not making any more subs. Balance of play should have been 3-1. I can't feel too mad about losing 3 goals. Their XG was 2.6. It's about right. Cameron Dawson actually leaves this game despite conceding 3 goals on a 7.2. He's had a good game. He's saved 9 shots. But we should have had 1. So I'm a little disappointed. But whilst I sort of was super angry with them at half-time, I'm not going to demotivate them at full-time. But the important thing here, how much money did that bring us? Neither of these two have played a game in about 2 weeks. How can they still be jaded? Do we get the money straight away? 1 million. I'm sorry, what? We got 2.5 grand for the Arsenal's under-23s Papa John's thing. 1.33 million, effectively. 1.33 million. Also selling a player for 175 grand as well, on top of that, which I think was already factored in. Explain to me how we've had more expenditure this month already than we did December. We've paid a tax bill or something, I don't know. It's going to make the graph interesting from here on. So I've had a look at the schedules, and the semi-final for the Father Jonathan's Trophy is around early March. The final is early April. So with that in mind, and with the intention to only have 2 more episodes in this season, I'm looking to do 6-episode seasons from here on in, one through return to 2 episodes per week, by the way. Depending on what the league looks like by the time I reach the semi-final, I might bring you that, and then the following game, and then we'll just do the final if we get through it, and the final game, and then we'll ignore the remaining league games. Basically, kind of depends on what the league looks like, and whether or not we get through this match as well, of course. If we don't get past Rotherham, I'm not going to bring you that. Then I'll just bring you somewhere in the middle here, and somewhere near the end. What happens next? No idea. And shout out to a capacity crowd, actually, at Old Trafford there. I know it's only 5,000 people there, basically, so thank you for the million. I will see you very soon. Regardless, the next episode will be on Monday, and then following Thursday, we're returning back to 2 a week. My personal busyness is basically the same as it was during the Newcastle save, so we'll go back to that schedule now that we're out of the honeymoon period of this Exeter save. Sorry. If you're enjoying it, we're back down to 2 for now. Anyway, until then, thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe if you are enjoying this. Don't think I actually said subscribe there, but we'll continue. I'll see you soon. Ta-ra.